Booktube. It's been a while, but I'm back with one of my weekly discussions. Hi! So I had an awful week last week where things were happening. It was even my birthday and it was terrible. This week is looking to be already much better. Luckily, however, my default position is to read. So I got a lot read. I didn't do any filming, editing or uploading, however. So I've got a bit to catch up on and catch you guys up on. So if you're new, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I finally finished Theatre of the Gods by M. Sudane. Oh my god, absolutely loved this book. It was a 5 out of 5. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful writing that is completely off the wall. The ending was great as well. It was Douglas Adamsy all the way through. I mentioned in a previous video how there's sea shanties. You sort of read the sea shanty and hey, hang on, that's cars. You know, here in my car, I feel safest of all, but they're talking about shit. There was little pop culture references sort of slipped into this steampunk-esque, futuristic, sci-fi space opera, and it was wonderful. Straight after that one, I got into a bit of graphic novel reading. As I said I was going to, I read Witchblade Rebirth. Now, I kind of figured Rebirth might be a great place to start because it's kind of difficult to get some of the early Witchblade stuff. I'm starting to wonder if I need to dig a little deeper and get some of the earlier stuff. It all made sense, however, there was references back to earlier. That being said, however, it was awesome. Really good sort of detailed drawings, if I can get it so that there's not all the light on it. Plotline was amazing. It did actually do a good job of it reintroducing the Sarah character who has moved to a new town. So although I'm going to continue with it, I might try and see if I can get some earlier ones. That was a 4 out of 5, so really liked that one. Throwback to the 80s now, I got the Dark Crystal Creation Myths one that's based on Jim Henson's characters and Brian Froud's characters, and done by Brian Hoagland, Alex Seekman and Lizzie John. I was kind of slightly worried about how if it was going to be turned into a bit too much of a comic book, but they actually really nicely did it by doing these weird sort of little bubbles which you can't quite get into focus, but they sort of made it a bit jagged so that it didn't look too comic booky, which I really appreciated, and I'll have to get the second volume of that sometime soon. So that one was a 5 out of 5 without a shadow of a doubt. I then finally read another Margaret Atwood book that wasn't Handmaid's Tale, and that was the Piniella, and it's actually set around a retelling the Odyssey. Instead of from Odysseus's perspective, it is from Penelope, his wife's perspective, who spent all that time waiting for her husband, not knowing what was going on, being courted by all these younger men who wanted to take the throne of Ithaca. Centered around the part of the myth in this is that 12 of her maids, who were technically slaves, were hung when they got back. It's a really interesting way to do it because they've actually turned the 12 maids into the chorus that would traditionally be in Greek theatre, and it really works incredibly well, and it was really evoking an amazing sort of feminist text from that sort of perspective. It's also done post her death, and she is actually in the fields of Elysium. She's in Hades. Really, really enjoyed this one. It was a 5 out of 5. I love a good retelling, and Greek myth retellings are just as good as Grimm's fairy tale retellings as far as I'm concerned. I reread the Illuminae just so I can finally get to Gemini and get to the third book that's coming out. I think it's later this month. So still a 5 out of 5. I also listened to an audiobook version of Appointment with Death, which is a Hercule Poirot book by Agatha Christie. It was a BBC sort of version, dramatized version of it, and it was good, but I think the dramatization lacks some of Agatha Christie's finessing when it comes to her playing out of the mystery. So that was a 3 out of 5. I finally got around to reading Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stravater. Oh, it went back into the developing friendships and relationships between the whole group, unlike the second book that was mainly centered around the whole idea of the Grey Warren and making these things from dreams, which I enjoyed. I just wanted more of the developing relationships within the groups. Also, the hunt for the king under the mountain. It was amazing. I don't want to say any spoilers, but it was another really good 4 out of 5 read, and I've got to get on to the next one. I also listened to The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, and that's by Anne Bronte. That means I've now read all 3 of the sisters, and Jane Eyre is still the best one. I am currently reading, finally getting to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Just a nice little cute read. I got this recently. I'm listening to Along Came a Spider by James Patterson on my audiobooks and really enjoying that. I'm about 20 or 30 chapters in. I'm co-reading, and I'm a little bit behind, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley with Novelty Corner. I've got to go and have a look at what she would have put up on the 9th. I'm also reading Magic by Angie Sage. What I have coming up next, oh my god, there's a lot of that. Audiobooks. I have 5 audiobooks on hold waiting to come through. They are Talon by Julie Kagawa, Full Moon by Jim Butcher, Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. I'm hoping that one reads a little bit better. The Magician's Nephew, because I want to go back through them, by C.S. Lewis. And Every Heart a Doorway, because I saw it was there and everyone's talking about that on BookTube as it is. Physical book. I'm still going to get to The Dragonbone Chair. That is next on my reading list, unless I feel the need to go and read The Raven King, because I'm so excited. Got recommended Way Down Dark by PJ Smythe, which is the first book in the Australia trilogy. My librarian said this would be awesome for me to read, so give it a go. It's a nice little one. At the same time, I got Nimona by Nolan Stevenson. So then we have the other graphic novels that I'm planning on reading. Is 2 I got recently, and that's Weird World, which is Marvel. Yep, Marvel. Get that wrong. Lose my nerd card. And Dominion Knights Volume 1. Thank you very much for joining me for my weekly discussions. Sorry about the length of time it's taken me to get another video up, and I will see you all soon. Happy reading. Bye.